Whoever believes a lot of fame and money is going to make them happy, the people who believe that, they never had any fame or money.
My guest today is Mike Tyson. Mike is the former heavyweight boxing champion of the world, one of the greatest boxers of all time, and one of the most recognized sports personalities in the world.
Losing's not as bad as people think it is. I never once said it's over, I'm not going to do this no more. Only that's a hair thing, and I won my title back in 6 months.
When he was 20 years old, 4 months and 22 days old, he became the youngest boxer ever to win a heavyweight title, and he was the first heavyweight boxer to simultaneously hold the WBA, WBC, and IBF titles.
Guys like Muhammad Ali, you gotta beat him to death. You're not gonna give up. If the referee don't stop the fight, if the corner don't stop the fight, you gotta kill him. He's not gonna give up.
He finished his professional career with a 50-6 record with a knockout to win percentage of 88% and is a member of the International Boxing Hall of Fame. In addition to his incredible boxing career, Mike has appeared in dozens of movies and TV shows and is the creator and actor of the one-man hit Broadway show, The Undisputed Truth, and is the author of a best-selling book of the same name.
Whenever you're prepared to be the best in the world in anything, you have to be prepared for disappointment. Because you're going to be disappointed. You're going to be discouraged. Never give up. Fight to your last breath. Never, never, never give up.
Mike is also a successful entrepreneur. He's the founder of 2 cannabis companies, including Tyson 2.0, and he is a dedicated philanthropist through his Mike Tyson Cares Foundation and his support of other charities, including the Make-A-Wish Foundation and the Special Olympics. Mike, it's an incredible pleasure to have you on my show. Welcome to In Search of Excellence.
Pleasure to be here, my friend.
So many people I know are motivated by different things in life. And I think when you don't have money, and I know as a kid, I wanted money and I was motivated by money. For me, I wasn't an athlete. I was a terrible athlete, much better today than I was then. I think a lot of it's mental and there's a lot of confidence. And I didn't have a lot of confidence, being bullied and not being the cool kid.
See, and that was the difference. I never had come, once I got it, it took me to another place I wasn't prepared to be. You know, it took you to that stratosphere where it appeared to be like you might even be better than some people. And then, like I said, you get to look at yourself from a different perspective. You appear to be surpassing people, but you don't like yourself. The more success you receive, the more conflict you have within. And I never understood that. And I was always a glutton for more and more. I was always taught, crush the world to your feet, more and more and more. And as I got older, I realized when I didn't have it, I wanted it. But now that I have it, I don't want it anymore. You know, so I had to understand this. Someone has to manage your life because you're not quite qualified to manage your life. So I ran into some beautiful people that came from the experience of meeting my wife, and life has changed for me so drastically. I would never have done that if I wasn't married to this woman.
All right. We're going to talk about your awesome wife, yes. Kiki, of 14 years, a little bit. Yeah. But let's talk about money. And I do want to talk about the motivation of money to our future. So many people I know are motivated by money and they hate what they do. A lot of my lawyer friends, for example.
I'm very unable to do that. If I don't like what I'm doing, you're unable to get any work out of me.
So what's your advice to people in general where money is their greatest motivator of success?
Really? Whoever believes a lot of fame and money is going to make them happy, the people who believe that, they never had any fame or money. They never had any fame or money because it becomes a job now. It becomes a job to watch people, to watch characteristics, be prepared for a particular characteristic that you're looking for good people or bad people, or people that prepare to use skullduggery on you. It's you become your own alarm system. You understand? You just become your own system of protection. And that's just a middle way to live, but we have to have some perspective on living in that way.
I have a lot of friends who live month to month, and I have a lot of very wealthy friends. And some of the most unhappy, miserable people I know are centimillionaires who are depressed. They're terrible parents. They travel the world. Kids are they're really fucked up and they have a lot of problems, a lot of drugs. suicide is an issue. It's sad.
And listen, I'm there too. Listen, I have people at the bottom of the world I'm friends with, and I have people at the top of the world that's friends with me. And the pain is relevant. It's the same.
Right.
Both people losing someone they love, they grieve the same. I don't care how much money you got, how much power you got. We both grieve the same. We both breathe the same. And we're the same. There's some people decided money was a big part of their life.
Right.
And there was nothing that was going to stop them from getting that money. That's what it's all about. I'm the kind of guy I learned from my mentor. You have to want to be up more than anybody in the world wants you to be down. And once you feel that way, you have no much problems. Because you don't care what somebody that you don't care about say.
A lot of people, when you're successful, who you think are your friends, are not that happy for your success.
No. Especially if they tell you to keep doing, keep it up, don't give up, and you do what they tell you to do and you succeed yourself. Now they inspire you. Now they want to tear you down.
Right.
Isn't that ridiculous?
Ridiculous.
I found out there's a friend who'd rather fight you than pay back a debt. That's what I learned. All people that you help and stuff.
Yeah.
And if they believe they have to pay you back, they'll find some way to fight you, have some altercation with you where your guys went and talked to you and not want to talk to them and see them and get your money back.
Right.
But I look at that from a different perspective. If I was capable of helping somebody and they didn't want to help be the residual and help me back or anything, I gave them that money. Now I can never talk to them again. They can never talk to me, come around me again. And so I paid for really a bad juncture in my life. And I don't have to deal with it anymore.
You already mentioned you had gone to prison. You were sentenced to 6 years. You did 3 years. Yeah. You called it the 3 best, most valuable years in your life. How is prison the 3?
Well, listen to this. It started at 63 and then it went down to 3. I got 60 years wiped out the books. But the really situation was that everything in life is psychological. Being able to be adaptable and being able to just have the confidence to believe that, you're going to survive this. Life is all about confidence. Confidence breeds success. Success breeds confidence. And when confidence is applied properly, it will supersede a genius. There's nothing more powerful in this world than confidence in a person whose time has come. There's nothing. When that happens, you're almost in God status.
But how was prison the 3 best years of your life? What did it do to make you a better person?
It gave me a perspective. It gave me more than that, peace. I had no trouble. I didn't have the altercation, no fight. Everything went well for me in prison. Everything was almost perfect. I lived great there. I ate great there. I was treated with privilege there, but I gave everybody respect. The first year I was there, I was an ass. I think, hey, everybody here deserves to be down on me. I'm the man here. And then I had to get a couple of visits to isolation. And after I had that miserable year, I started getting the hang of it. I started became a trustee. Everybody respected me, and everybody liked me. When I first went there, I was a jerk. Nobody liked me. Next thing you know, they had put another year on me for fighting with the guards and cursing everybody out. Just being an uncomfortable person in prison. Because I felt that I was wrong. I don't deserve it. All these people deserve to be here, but except me. And then I realized that we're living life on life terms. I should be just grateful that I'm still living. I did only 3 years. There were guys in there that did my time 10 times. They did 30 years. They did 30 years. And when I said I had 3 years, I was sad. They said, "What's wrong with you? I did your time 3 times already. What do you worry? I had 30 years. I'm not depressed. We have to live with life on life terms." And that's when I understood, who the hell am I? I'm nobody. And I realized that some people are so great from society's perspective that they hold you up so high, only one got to take you down is you, because this doesn't feel right. You got to tear yourself down, because what's just as powerful as building yourself up is just as equally powerful as tearing yourself down. So that's a rush too.
When people go to prison, you're kind of the new guy in there, and you got to fight to establish respect with some of the other prisoners. Were you a target and said, "All right, I want to beat up Mike Tyson, the heavyweight champion of the world"?
No. I don't know how to say it. Everybody loved me. Any problem that happened in prison was because of my ignorance, because I felt I shouldn't be there, and I was better. These guys are criminals, and I'm not the real criminals. And we have to know that we're just here for a moment in time. We're just passing through. No one's better than anyone else. Some people may have better opportunities, but we're just all God's creatures, big and small.
When you're there, you knew you were going to fight again, and you're training every day. You're running 9 miles a day in prison around the yard, including 4 miles a day in your prison cell, running around and around. And you're doing so many jumps. You said that you dented the concrete floor.
Listen, I never saw that. The prisoners and the administration saw that it wasn't even anymore. I would do it every day, run in place, naked in place running. That's just what I wanted to do. I wanted to be the best, and I knew I was going to fight. I wanted to look the best, and most of my career fighting it was just based on my ego. And I had the determination, but it all stemmed from my ego. I would think nobody's ever going to pick on me again. Think of those cold, weak moments when people abuse me. It's never going to happen again.
You went in at 285 and you came out at 215.
Yeah.
So you're a lean, mean fighting machine.
Yes. I never went to the cafeteria. I always had great food. My girlfriend at the time would always send food over, send money to certain people, and they would go out, bring the food in for me. We always have great smorgasbords in prison.
Let's talk about Evander Holyfield.
Oh, yeah, he works with us now.
Yeah, well, we're going to talk about, I know your partners. It's an incredible story. So you had a first fight with him back on November 9th, 1996. Yes. You had the rematch June 28th, 1997. And it was called The Sound and the Fury. And then it was known as the Bite Match. I know you've been asked this a million times. Or the Bite Fight. So can you walk us through, I saw that fight on pay-per-view. I'm a huge fan of yours, and I've seen a bunch of your fights, but it was surprising to watch that. Can you just explain what you were thinking and what happened there?
Hey, listen, I was in the ring fighting him, and I noticed the first time something that happened, he didn't hit me, but I was dizzy about something. I don't know, maybe I thought he hit me. But then when I watched the fight, it was because he was headbutting me. I was running into his head most of the time. And the second fight, it started happening again. My head was busted, and I was in desperation. The referee, The referee wasn't complaining with him about the headbutts, and I just got frustrated
and disqualified.
Yeah, he was kicking my ass a little too. I have to put that in, but yeah.
Let's talk about probably the greatest upset in sports history. You're fighting Buster Douglas, who's a 42-1 underdog, and you lost that fight. How did you lose the fight? And talk about kind of the habits you were doing before the fight and what you learned from that fight.
You know, it doesn't, regardless of that, I was just living ridiculously. He has fought a great fight. He deserved to be champion at that time. He worked hard, he earned that fight to be champion. There was no excuses.
You learned at some point when you lost the fight that the pressure was now off and you were not disappointed. You were actually happy it happened because you learned lessons from those.
Exactly.
What did you learn from that? That was the Buster Douglas fight.
I learned that losing wasn't all as bad as it made out to be. That's what I realized about that. It's not, losing's not as bad as people think it is. You know what I mean? So what? I cleaned myself up. I fought 4 more times, getting ready to fight again for the title, and I got myself in trouble. But I never once said this after the fight. It's over. I'm not going to do this no more. Only that's the hair thing, and I won my title back in 6 months. Never in a million years I said it's over. I'm never going to win the title again. My life is over. My career is over. I knew it from my experience and from watching fighters and talking to old fighters that fought in the 20s, like when I was fighting in the 80s. And they would just tell me, Mike, man, I know a great fighter like you not going to let something this small discourage you. And I just never got discouraged in my life after certain things as being a kid, but I just realized them to be discouraged anymore.
Lots of people, when they have a lot of success, they have some knockdowns, they get fired from jobs once, twice, 3 times, they give up. What's your message to all those people experience great disappointment if they should keep going?
Well, I'll explain that with a story.
Okay.
Don King was my promoter. Of course, it's it's pretty much understood from society that he stole money.
Right.
He did some stuff that it's in the past. He did some real, Italian stuff. And so he expected me to be on dope, because I was on dope for a while. He expected me to stay in jail. I was arrested for a while after I lost everything. I got in trouble. And then things have changed. I met my wife. I married my wife. We wrote this one-man show. It went insane. We went all over the world, performed it all over the world. We performed in countries that couldn't speak our language, and they had an interpreter. But and plus I had other success. Plus I got this boxing success. Then I have this apparel, my clothes and everything. And then I have this boxing called Tyson Sports, pretty much. And it has the best boxing equipment in the world. And I go from all this, right, from being such a despot, drug user, alcoholic, and I go through all this transformation, forms of redemption, so to speak. And know what happened? Don King is my neighbor now. But he never in a million years thought I'd be this close to him again. Now he's my neighbor. So what's that mean? I can walk to his house. He has to see me till the day he dies. So I don't look at life like, hey, I'm envious or I'm mad that people have grudges. No, because life is it's all been written. As soon as eternity started, everything's been written. It happened already. That's when he said, let there be light, because he wrote our life in the dark. And so whatever happens is meant to happen. It was written. Do you ever watch Lawrence of Arabia?
I've never seen it, and my kids are horrified right now. But since you're saying it to me, I promise you I'm going to watch it, because
what a movie! Because one of the movies, this one gentleman wanted to help, and the other guy saying, "You're wasting your time." It was written that this guy is going to die and he's not going to live long, and the guy was right. It was written. You can tell by somebody's character, if they don't redeem themselves, the future's already destined. They're written already. Like one old boxing friend of mine met me the other day and said, we never had a million years believe that you'll still be alive. Because I lived that kind of life. Now I live the life. I didn't have any hope in life. Even though I had a lot of materialism, I never had hope for a better life. And now that I have hope for a better life, adversities don't stop, but we just handle them differently. And from a positive perspective as well.
You're a famous athlete. People come up and take pictures with you. Some athletes like it to a point, some don't. You're with your family. Hey, don't take my photo. At some point, this 12-year-old kid comes up to you, and later in life, you want to learn something about the music business. So you call this amazing guy named Rodney Jerkins, and you said, I know who you are. For those people who don't know, Rodney who goes by the Dark Child, is one of the most successful music producers of all time.
Yes.
He has worked with everybody you could ever imagine. Beyonce, Michael Jackson, Rihanna, everybody. And everyone's dying to work with him. So you call him up. I think you're living in Maryland at the time. And you said, I want to come see you the next day. And Rodney said, hey, Mike Tyson called me up. Come on over. You drove over in a black Rolls Royce. What were you, and Rodney's known to be this incredibly nice, thoughtful, logical guy who's a great friend.
Very logical. That's a good word. He's very logical.
And he's counseled a lot of people throughout hard times, Justin Bieber and a whole bunch of people. So you go over there, you spend time with him, you guys become great friends. And at some point, you want to fight Lennox Lewis, but you don't really want to fight him. So Rodney's kind of coaching you. Can you tell us how you popped him in the chin? And can you also tell us what his friendship means to you?
Hey, listen. What time I always pop Rodney's chin every now and then. But listen, Rodney is just the sweetest guy in the world. People, of course you have to have that tough exterior in the music business, but he's just one of the most beautiful person in the world. I'm so grateful to be friends with his family, and he's friends with my family. And it's hard to pretty much how do you define his friendship? It's just total love.
What does he mean to you? How big of an influence has Rodney had on your life?
Rodney's one of my best friends. He's one of my best friends, most famous person. When I say famous, I don't mean from a star perspective, of just famous as far as a friend perspective. One of my favorite people. When I say famous, I mean that's one of my famous people, not no celebrity.
Yeah. Well, shout out to Rodney for bringing us together. Dark Child.
Listen. I'm in Dubai, and I'm telling them about Rodney Jerkins. This guy doesn't know who the hell is Rodney Jerkins, this guy in Dubai. I said, come on, Rodney Jerkins, he dealt with this guy. And then my friend that's there, he said, yeah, he's Dark Child. He said, oh yeah, I know Dark Child, but they didn't know his name. They only know him by Dark Child.
You got to have a branding in the music business, so they branded him Dark Child.
But I'm saying his name. I'm thinking these people know who he is. Wow, Rodney's not known out here. But once my friend said Dark Child, yeah, Dark Child.
So one of the things that's made
me... So he's known all over the world too, from a music perspective.
He's a legend. And once again, shout out to Rodney for setting us up. I really appreciate it. He's become a good friend in a short amount of time.
Oh, he's beautiful. You see, there's nothing in him but godly soul. If it's not God's work, he's not doing it.
One of the things that's one of my favorite topics that's made me successful among a lot of hard work is something called what I call extreme preparation. So I'm talking about the kind of preparation that's not normal preparation. I'm talking about when someone spends 1 hour on something, I may spend 5 or 10, or we're making a presentation to a company, they may spend 10 and I may spend 40. How important has extreme preparation been in your success?
It's not for everyone. That's why it's called extreme. Not everyone's extreme. Some people are balanced. I'm more balanced than I was. Let me just say that. But balance is almost impossible. How do you perceive yourself to be balanced when it doesn't appear to exist? What is balance? All right, so listen. I'm gonna eat 5 hamburgers here, and I'm gonna eat 5 hamburgers with the cheese, the milk, everything on top of the big bread, extra fat bread bun. I'm gonna eat 5 of those. 5 of those. I'm gonna eat 1 little piece of cookie. That's pretty unbalanced, huh? It's pretty unbalanced. Maybe if I take 5 hamburgers and 2 packs of cookies, maybe I'll be balanced then. But do you want to be balanced at that perspective of sugar? No, you don't want to risk from that balance. So everything has to be done pretty much moderation. But balance doesn't exist. I don't believe balance exists. That's just a word we use to try to explain some kind of situation. But I don't think most people can't handle balance. These are extreme. For me, these are extreme. Either I'm on top of the world or I'm in the gutter. It's just, that's how it works for me. Balance doesn't make sense to me.
But didn't you train harder than every one of your opponents? You were known to train more than anybody.
That's not balanced.
No, I know, but my question was, how important has extreme preparation been to your success? Forget about balance. I mean,
my extreme preparation comes from fear. It comes from fear. Every part of success comes from fear. We turn the fear into happiness, but it comes from the fear of failing. Especially when everybody has everything riding on you. There's a fear of letting everyone down, letting yourself down. That's how come some people would rather die than, let people down, let themselves down. It's just a feeling that, I don't know why it's from that desperation. It's just feeling if I don't succeed, I don't want to exist. People, we have that. That's the extreme. It's guys like Muhammad Ali. You got to beat them to death. They're not going to give up. If the referee don't stop the fight, if the corner don't stop the fight, you got to kill him. He's not going to give up. He's just not going to give up and quit. And that's the mindset that I believe I have.
One of the greatest quotes of many that you have is, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth.
Listen, I hear that. Sportscasters, commentators, politicians, everybody. And I was saying, somebody said that became one of the most important quotes in the 21st century. And I'm saying to myself, hey, that's not even my quote. That's Customato quote. I said, if he was here now, he would laugh to death if somebody took him that serious. But
is it true?
Yeah, everyone has a plan until they get hit or they find some kind of adversity in their presence.
Let's talk about life after boxing. You were addicted to drugs.
No, listen, let's start. You're not starting. After life after boxing, I was totally broke after I finished boxing. Totally broke, $5 million, $6 million, but that's totally broke to me at that particular time. And I didn't know what I was gonna do. Didn't care, so I really indulged myself in and my discouragement, my fears, I don't know, I just felt like my life was a waste and all that crap. And I did a lot of drugs, I did a lot of liquor, I became a glutton. I ate food, I was like 380, 360, something to that effect. And then I decided to call my wife, who wasn't my wife at the time, and see what I could suck out of her or something. And she came, she saw my condition. She never saw me like that before, but before she came to see me, friends of hers were saying, have you seen Mike lately? He's a mess. And so she saw me, I was on medication then. Maybe now and then I don't think I was on cocaine. I mean, yeah, if I was. And so she saw me, I was a mess. I don't know why she even got involved in my life. She had some adversity as well, but my stuff was just nasty, dirty. I had nothing. I can't believe I still had a house and nice cars. They didn't come and get this stuff. I'm saying, wow, what's happening here? I'm ready to go to my friend's house, do some creepy stuff. And my wife, she just came in single-handedly and decided, hey, I'm going to clean this mess up. And so she was really diligent on really allowing me to be a respectable human being in society. And so I'm really grateful and appreciative about that, because I was just before we were coming here, said we were getting ready to go in a total different direction till we got it together. And no one else helped as much. We had a young daughter named Milan in 2009, and that changed the whole game pretty much. We were working, succeeding, and giving her a great life.
I want to talk about a huge pivot in your life.
Okay.
You discovered cannabis at some point. It's changed your life. It's brought you a lot of peace. And I want you to talk about that, how you discovered it. And I want you to talk about your toad experience and what that was like.
So the cannabis, right? I've always smoked my whole life since a kid. And I had no idea. I've been arrested for it before. I got in trouble before illegally. So someone came to me to open up a cannabis. I had no idea what to do, I had no idea what was going on. So we got involved with these people. We partnered with them. It didn't turn out well. They didn't manage the finance and all that stuff, right? So we ran into my brother-in-law got invited and introduced us to some other people. And these people were, we made more money in a year than I did 4 years with the other company. And so this seemed like to be the right ticket. And my brother-in-law allowed these people to explain what they were capable of doing. It seemed like a no-brainer, and it wasn't a no-brainer. And when we're in over 100,000 stores, we're the biggest cannabis company in the country, if not the world. And if it's not yet, it will be. And that's just, it took the whole world by surprise. It even got me a pod show like you have, podcast. And so my podcast is hot boxing, we're on the boxing, we're smoking, and it's hot. So that's the name of my podcast, and it's been very successful. And people are allowed to drink and smoke on the show.
Talk about what the actual CBD has done to you as a person and your mood and your calmness and made you...
Hey, let me explain something to you. This is going to be funny. Out of all those fights I had, I only smoked pot once. I never smoked pot my whole fighting career, but it's once. And I wish I did. I wish I wasn't sober during my fighting career.
Why?
Because I wish I was smoking cannabis. I was drinking like a fish, liquor, but if I was smoking cannabis, I think I would have been a better fighter.
Most people would think the opposite of that is true. It slows you down. People, you see these signs on the highway, smoking. If you're high, you're drunk.
A little smoking is too high, stuff like that. A little high is too high, they say. But listen, we're not talking about being high. We're talking about elevating ourselves. The word high comes from, see, people get language wrong. The word high doesn't mean, I'm high. It means your highest form of thinking. And that's what high means. It doesn't mean, I'm high, I'm out of control.
You said that the high point in your life is that when you have a willingness to die. I think just the opposite. I don't want to die, but you've been quoted as saying that. Is that a high point of your life?
This is what I found out. Since I've been involved with psychedelics, and I don't know if cannabis is in that same category, right? But listen, all the psychedelics, the toads and all that stuff, and I'm trying to realize, why did God create this stuff? How could God know that this stuff attacks a certain part of your brain to make you see certain images? And as time goes, I've been doing this for a few years, and it's about preparing you for death. That's what all this is about. All the psychedelics, all that stuff. That's what it's all about. Even liquor from a perspective. It's all about preparing you for death, so you can die with dignity. And, oh God, no, please don't die. I don't want to die. No, that's not what it's about. It's about accepting death, because if death is not great, then how can life be great? If life is not great, how could death be great? They go hand to hand. They're related to each other. Without one, they won't be the other.
How do you define success?
Success comes in many forms. It's not necessarily finance. Success is not drinking anymore. That's a form of success. Not cheating on your wife. You know, success has so many different perspectives. When I think of success, I never think about money. I think about happiness. And I believe that's what success is, happiness, your perspective on happiness. What is success? How does success work for you? Success works for me is when I'm in a competitive mood. I don't think no one's going to beat me. And that's just in life, not from a physical perspective, but just in a competitive perspective. I was born to compete. That's just all I do. I'm just game for competition. If it's fighting, if it's cannabis, if it's entrepreneurship, whatever it is, I want to fight you. I want to break whatever system that is, fighting sport. I want to crush it to my feet.
What motivates Mike Tyson today?
I just think it's my children. It's making sure not necessarily that I'm going to give them a great life. I want to give them a great perspective on my life or on life, period. You know, I don't know if I might be scared to die. I don't know, but I know I don't cling to life. I don't want to be here if certain people are not here.
You've got young kids.
Yeah.
What's your advice to a young 18-year-old boxer and more generally to an 18-year-old in general, male or female?
Just that to know, I learned this from Billie Jean King. I heard her said this. Just to know this, whenever you want to be the best in the world, and I'm talking about a bug collector, a garbage can collector, a boxer, a watch collector, you know, anything, a lawyer, whenever you're prepared to be the best in the world in anything, you have to be prepared for disappointment. Because you're going to be disappointed. You're going to be discouraged. And you have to prepare that's going to happen and not to give up. Never give up. Fight to your last breath. Never, never, never give up.
You have a great family. We talked about your wife, Kiki, 14 years together. You have 2 kids together. You have 7 kids total.
Yeah.
You moved to Florida because
my daughter plays tennis.
She plays tennis.
And my son plays golf, and they told me this is the place to be for that stuff.
Right.
They want to be professionals. At least my daughter does.
That's amazing that you did that. It shows what kind of parent you are, what kind of family you are. Talk about what it is like to have Mike Tyson as your dad, and then talk about the work-life balance.
Well, it depends on what particular era you caught me in. As I'm younger, I'm not as good of a father in my 20s and 30s and as I am in my late 40s and 50s, middle 50s. It just changed. The perspective changed. The selfishness, evaporates a little and you're selfless. And that's when life becomes better, because that's what true self-love is, loving other people. I always thought self-love was me buying the big mansion, buying beautiful cars, fancy clothes, but self-love is helping other people. Give them what you want and give it to someone else.
We talked a little bit before the show about our kids. We live for our kids. What's your advice to all the successful people out there who don't spend enough time with their kids and look back and say,
well, listen, whatever you do with your kids is going to pay off. There's dividends. If you spend time with them, there's dividends that you're not going to have a good relationship with them. If you spend a lot of time with them, there's dividends that good stuff is going to happen to you. You know, it's just about what you want to put that time in and what you want to get out of from that time. I want total respect for my kids because I give them total respect. You know, we could lie to the people outside of our house, but we can't lie to the people in our house. They watch us every day. They watch us when we're not having when we don't have our face up, you know. It's hard to say it. They see us at our best and they see us at our worst. So when people have, tricky relationships with their children, because their children seen things they did that the people in the streets never did, or their friends. So that's like children have a different relationship with their parents than they do with certain other people. They don't listen, my kids don't look at me like they see everybody in the world. My son's like, everybody's kissing your ass. You know, nobody's kissing my ass. They're showing the respect that I'm giving them. And kids are interesting. I had a challenge with my kids. The challenge was to have them trust me again and let's have self-respect. You know, we used to have, my family came over last night. One of my oldest son, my middle daughter, her girlfriend, and their mother. And it was just like family. It's just, that's the best part of my life. When we're all together. Matter of fact, what makes me happy? When every one of my kids are together in one place. That's my happiness. Every one, they have to be together in one place and just vibing off each other. That's when I'm at my best.
Tell us about the Mike Tyson Cares Foundation and how important is giving back in search of excellence.
Mike Tyson Foundation, it's just such an array of things it's done that I probably can't even express. But, what we do, we help the family that's dealing with domestic violence, and they don't want to go home because they have to go home to this over-pulverizing person. So we have facilities for them. We have, we're in a position where we can help the kids with scholastic equipment, books, pencils, even teachers. And it's just, like I was saying, it's such an array of things that a charity perspective. I don't even know all of them, but it's just, it's just an array of beautiful stuff doing. That my family and my team is doing.
What is next in your future?
Sky's the limits, man. Anything's capable of happening if I keep giving affirmation to God.
I want to ask you some one-word. I want to ask you some fill-in-the-blank questions as we end today. Okay. In 10 years from now, I want to be doing
whatever I want. I want to be with my family. We want to all be together. I don't want to live far from one another. I just want to celebrate and end my life doing that. Loving my family, trying to prevent any altercations from us, and hopefully that when we're all said and done, we loved each other before we died. And there was no kind of interventions or fights or anything. Everybody loved each other. There's some families that die not loving each other. Don't even want them at their deathbed.
The biggest accomplishment in my life is?
I think marrying my wife and having my kids.
My biggest regret in life is?
Sex partners.
The one thing I've always wanted to do in my life that I haven't done is?
Nothing. We're dying, that's all. I don't look at life from that perspective. I look at life as just enjoying every great moment with everybody you love, because life is just a blink of the eye and it's over. We can't even anticipate our next breath. I look at life from that perspective too. Life is beautiful. Death is beautiful. I was looking at the story of Buddha. I was just going through, and I had no idea that his purpose was to stop self-suffering. I had no idea somebody would want to do that. But he realized that suffering doesn't exist. Only self-suffering exists. And I started thinking about that. I said, he's right, because I don't suffer most of the time. The only time I suffer is when I'm doing it to myself. Well, your low self-esteem comes in when you're doing so good. You say, wow, how can I be doing so good when I don't think so good about myself? I'm one of those guys with the greatest ego with the lowest self-worth. And I don't know how that works, but it works really good for me.
The one person in the world that I'd like to meet, and I've not met yet, is
God. Being in the presence of what it is. I don't know, woman, man, child, baby, energy. Just imagine dealing with God. My friend said I deal with God every moment of the day. Every second of the day you're dealing with God, because God is you. We know who we are. We know, without even being involved, with us being like mongoloids, cavemen, we know the difference between right and wrong. We know how we feel when we do wrong. Even though we're laughing at it, we know, even though we're evil, we know this is just not right. You just don't do that to people or the cats. You just don't do that. We know you just don't do that. I don't care if you're invalid. We know the difference from right and wrong.
The number one person I want on my podcast and haven't had is?
I don't know. I have no idea. It's like, it's talking to people, interacting with people. I would take a guy on the street and we would have just as much fun. I'm talking about a homeless guy. We would have just as much fun than I would if I had the best comedian in the world on the podcast. My podcast is all about love, dealing with reality, and not taking the world too serious. I've been saying this to people that I learned from somebody. He said that human beings take things, what was that word again? Human beings take things too serious, but God meant to be fun. And I always kept that, idea when I get in my extreme modes. Hey, this is not meant to be complicated. This is meant to be fun and happy. So that keeps me in perspective.
The one piece of advice I have for a 25 or 30-year-old is?
Hey, it's not as bad as you think. Your mind makes things in life worse than it really is. All right, just believe in yourself and don't let nobody knock you off don't let nobody knock you off your mountain. You have to believe. You have to stand firm in life. You don't have to win all your fights, but you got to fight them all. That's what I learned. You don't have to win them all, but you do have to fight them all.
The one question you wish I had asked but didn't is?
I wish I asked my mother, what was your life like? What did you do when you were 10, 15, 20? What did you do? And then what did you do with your life? We never talked about my mom. I never talked to her about her family. I just never knew anything about her. I learned more after she died, but I just wish I asked more questions about her. So I got to become acquainted with my father as time went on. And he told me most of the stories about him and my mother from his perspective, as far as he knew her. And so that's how I knew her. If
your mom were sitting here today, what would you tell her?
I was saying I turned out better than we thought we were.
She'd be proud.
Yeah, very proud. But my family have a lot of pride. The Price family have a lot of pride. I'm a Price too, so we have a lot of pride.
Mike, it's an honor to have you here today. I'm super grateful for your time. I'm a huge fan of yours.
Thank
you have
you
a
so
great
much,
story of success and redemption. One of the great stories of all time.